Hello, everyone. Happy weekend. This is Melissa Lieb, and if it is your first time watching, my new venture is a fitness studio. So, if you are wanting a quality workout with excellent instructors, my fitness studios will provide you with a personalized workout experience. You can choose classes like yoga, Pilates, and barre classes with flexible hours in the morning, also later in the evenings. Our studio is going to provide an app that lets you track your workouts and share with your friends. You can also provide us feedback and join challenges through the app. If you are looking for a place to exercise with friends, we offer you discounts for each friend that you invite to join. We encourage your fitness lifestyle with instructors who will help you learn the workouts at whatever your level of experience is. So a couple things that I went through this week as far as the assumed customer lifetime value. I did some research on the other locally on other websites for Pilates, yoga, and barre studios. It seems some customers are lifers. Some of them boast that they've been going 15 years. This just means that the class is part of their lifestyle, part of their routine. As long as their needs are being met, they are going to keep coming to the class. However, the majority of the customers are probably just going to go for a certain period of time and move on. Now, without me having the customer databases, it would be hard for me to actually determine what that average is, what the customer lifetime value is. But that is what I found. It seems like a lot of people go for a certain period of time, and then they stop going for whatever reason. As far as costs, efficiency, selling price, some of the things that I noticed on the websites is once I looked up these fitness studios, I immediately began getting targeted with these Facebook ads. I expected it, but these ads were coming from a Pilates studio and a barre studio. Both of them were franchises, so I was only getting out of all the ones that I looked up, I was only getting ads from those two. So I did not see any ads at all on Instagram. Maybe that was a missed opportunity for them. I'm on Instagram a lot more than Facebook. So I thought that was a little bit interesting. I think it's odd that I've never gotten any ads from them before. Now, granted, the last several years I've been taking these types of classes at my workplace since they are free. It still makes me wonder, though, what is their target market? Would I not fit in their target market, or do they only target those ads at people who are actively looking for a place to work out? I did some research on Facebook ad costs, and it appears it's really up to you depending on how much you want to spend. So there isn't really a cost per se that I can pinpoint as far as that channel, as far as like social media, putting it out there, different types of media. There isn't really a cost. I saw some people average $800 in the research I did, and some people average $50,000 a month. So it does make me wonder, though, a lot of the smaller, small business, not franchise studios that I looked up were not doing the Facebook ads or anything on Instagram either. I think barriers to entry, there are not a whole lot in this industry. I don't think it takes a whole lot to open as far as entering the industry. Most of the classes that I've mentioned require minimal equipment, so startup costs are going to be low. Now, with Pilates specifically, one of those Pilates machines can range anywhere from $500 to $1,300 per, like, the tables. The typical costumes are going to be small, though. So for a startup, 10 to 12 is going to be more than enough. I saw some of the established studios, some of them only have like seven people in the class that they allow at a time, and they do that just to keep the environment small and give it a more personal interaction with the instructor. Any of these classes are going to require certification, though, so the instructors do have to be certified. That takes time and it has a cost. Basic courses, some of the very basic ones, like just to be able to teach some of the classes, are $300. But I saw comprehensive certifications, like to be able to teach all the classes in depth, all the certification, it can be up to $3,000. There's also the time factor. 500 hours is typical, and a lot of times on the websites they specify these as certifications. These are how many hours this instructor has put in, so that's going to be important experience. So based on my research, it seems a lot of instructors are going to be working multiple studios, or they have a separate full-time job. It seems to me this is going to indicate maybe finding the right staff can be potentially challenging. I think that might be a barrier that I'm going to run into, is finding staff, the qualified staff, and that who are willing to do it, work within the schedule that I need. The other barrier, I thought perhaps economies of scale. I noticed that with advertising, it was more so the franchises, the ones that were advertising more, and not so much the smaller ones. The smaller ones were not advertising on Facebook. I didn't see any advertisements for them. I had never seen any advertisements before. Haven't seen any since I did the research. For feedback from users, I did a little bit of research on the studios in my area. There's only Pilates and barre. There's 5 total. There are a couple more studios that offer yoga exclusively, and 2 of these, as I mentioned, were franchises. I noticed the franchises only offer one type of class, so like barre or yoga, but not both. So I did find that interesting as far as like honing in on just one type, but I also noticed a lot of the smaller companies do offer a variety of different classes, which I like that more. I think I like having the variety option, but definitely gave me something to think about as far as just focusing on one type, or if customers prefer having options. I read through, for all of these websites, I read through all the negative reviews I could find for all these places, and it seems like one of the big points is payment methods, as far as like making payments, and this is just an administrative issue. It shouldn't affect the actual entry to the industry or whatever, but it seems like that is one of the biggest issues that people have. Almost every negative review I read was about this. So it made me realize the importance of having a well-organized payment management system. Also something I had not considered. But if people are seeing those reviews, they might be more hesitant to go to a studio where they see that maybe payments have been mismanaged, someone got hurt, didn't get their refund, whatever the case may be. I also got some of my own customer feedback. I asked 4 open-ended questions, spoke to 8 people. They were all women. 7 of the 8 were between 25 and 40 years old. 3 of the 4 women that had children stated that childcare was a top feature they were looking for in a fitness center. And then on the flip side, of course, 4 of the women that didn't have children said childcare was not something they were even looking for or cared about, but they did mention that once they had children, that would probably be something that would change. Nutrition services ranked very low on what they ranked as far as the features that they were interested, except for 2. Every person I spoke to in some way mentioned how they liked the social aspect of working out in a studio. One of the people I did talk to mentioned that they preferred a gym over a studio because they had a hard time focusing when others were around. So that's something I had not considered either, as far as, that focus aspect. So making sure when we're marketing, even doing that pitch, that mentioning that the instructors are going to be there to help you focus, get through the workout. So for that particular group of people. Some words that I captured from the people I talked to that I wrote down when they described working out with friends, they used the word fun, accountability, motivated, focused, and work harder. So those are some of the words that I want to use going forward to do any kind of marketing, any kind of pitch. As far as the value proposition and what's changed, I know that because of COVID, a lot of things have changed with virtual classes, and a lot of the ads I was getting from the barre and Pilates franchises were about, the Go services, the virtual services, the recorded classes. So you sign up, you pay for it, and you get access to all these virtual classes. So that's something that I hadn't considered, but I think that's going to be going forward in the future that people are going to expect that virtual services are going to be offered. I don't think it's something that we do in the very beginning because, again, I didn't see these types of services for the smaller local businesses. This is something that was being offered by the franchises, but I still think it's something that is important, and I'd like to do that in the future. None of the studios that I looked at offer childcare or any kind of nutrition services or partnerships. My original business model included both. Last week I mentioned that I felt that a nutritionist might work better as a partnership with an existing nutrition center versus having a nutritionist on site. So I've definitely kind of set that to the side, again, based on the feedback that I've received over this week. It might not even be something that I will focus on in the beginning, focus resources on what people feel is important, which is technology. A lot of people mention technology when they're working out. I do still feel childcare is important to a lot of people. And I think some people might even enjoy working out with their kids or even letting their kids work out while they're working out. So something to that effect. But I think for this startup, the space requirements, staffing requirements, licenses, whatever I need, it's going to make it difficult to include this in the value proposition. And I think there's enough of a segment out there to make this work without having the childcare, at least in the beginning. And once the company has been established, I still personally feel it's something that needs to be added. I feel strongly that there's a segment of parents out there, they want to exercise, but they aren't able to because they are taking care of young children. But that's one of the biggest things I think have changed. I want to kind of put that to the side, keep it in mind for the future, is that, not including childcare in the value proposition anymore, but focusing on what the customers are giving me feedback about. They like having their friends involved, so discounts there, and then also focusing on an app because technology is important to them, and then the variety of hours and the different class offerings.